BookTube. This is Jack from Jack's Reading Corner, and guess what today is? It's the day before I have another day off, so it's time to share with you guys what I'm going to be reading on my day off, and what I have been reading. So first, let's talk about, let's start with the book I'm going to try to finish by the end of the month, and that is Conjuring of the Light by V.E. Schwab. I finally started the third and final book of the Shades of Magic trilogy, although I do believe that V.E. Schwab has written some other books in this world, but I think they're graphic novels. I thought she was actually going to like the prequels, because I remember hearing about this, and I thought the prequels would be like actual novels like this, not graphic novels, but I think they're graphic novels about Rye's father. Well, I guess Rye and Kel's father. But, so as you can see, I'm still got a while to go, but I'm past the halfway point. And it's one of these situations in which I love this trope. Whenever a formerly villainized character is all of a sudden is forced to work together with the quote-unquote good guys, because sometimes good guys can have shades of gray, but as in like Delilah, for instance, or Alucard Emery. Alucard, I hope I'm saying his name right. And that character being Holland, actually, because I'm assuming that you guys have already read is essentially he's working with them to defeat the evil force that has invaded Red London. And it's both, in a way, you could argue that it's both his and Kel's fault that this happened. But, I noticed that, like, a lot of villains, they will do that, they will capitalize on the fact that, in a way, you are to blame. You let it happen, even if you didn't intend for it to happen. You weren't strong enough to stop it from happening, whether, it's a force or a physical person. So he's helping them, but with the exception of Kel, everybody, although Kel doesn't entirely trust Holland either, but I think he feels obligated to Holland, and and I think there's a sense of guilt there, because he admits this to Delilah, that it could have been him. He could have been the one who brought the evil, like in the literal sense, to Red London. But the others don't really trust Holland, so there's a lot of tension, and I love those kinds of moments. There's moments where there's lots of tension, not sexual tension, but tension that's like, I don't like you, I don't trust you, but I'm working with you. Not necessarily I want to jump your bones, but I just, more along the lines of, I know you have some value and input, and you could help us unless you betray us. That's what they're worried about, of course, with Holland, that he might betray them. But I think at this point, he just wants Osram gone, and I don't think he wants to be a victim. But it's the typical story of a bad guy this evil person who didn't always start out this way, but then they were kind of forced into this. Like, basically, as they say in Once Upon a Time, evil isn't born, it's made. I think that's before Once Upon a Time, there were a lot of stories that still follow that whole philosophy of when you have a villainous character, and the only reason that they're a villain is because they are forced into villainy, like something happened to them that made them think they have to do these things that most people would think are evil, or at least immoral. And that's what happened to Holland. And he's just trying to survive, so... But of course, in these kinds of situations, you gotta decide, there's a line that are you gonna cross it? Are you gonna let this person get away with this? You gotta decide, are you gonna... Because, like on Once Upon a Time, there's the whole thing with Regina and she has, she was innocent at one time and was manipulated, messed up by her mother and by the death of her boyfriend by her mother. So and she was doing all these horrible things, and it's like there's only so many times that that sob story can work. And it's the same thing with, another good examples on the show Buffy with the character of Anya. She was a vengeance demon, then she became human again, and then she and Xander were together, fell in love, they were going to get married, but then he started having second thoughts because he has a whole bunch of other issues. And it broke her heart, and he waited, and the reason I think why people are so angry and cannot forgive him is because he waited so long. He knew he was starting to question this, and then at the last minute, he finally realized, I can't do this to you. Promise he had good intentions, but at the same time, he waited until now to tell her. He shouldn't have done that. But of course, now we're not talking about him specifically, we're talking about her, and she became a vengeance demon, and she was so hurt and so angry that she just couldn't let it go and forgive him. And he even says in season 7, when she's back to in full force as a vengeance demon and does all these things, and when he's trying to make her fix the current thing she's done, she's like, well, guess whose fault that is, or something along those lines. And he's like, well, you know what, Anya, there's only so many times that can work. Because it's true, eventually you have to admit you screwed up, or that you're wrong, or that you are just angry and bitter and frustrated, and that, you took out your emotions on other people. So, that's kind of, so, you could, I guess, to them, that's how Holland is. There's only so much they can do to forgive him. But, so, I'm hoping to get this done by the end of the month. I don't know if that will happen or not, but I'm going to try. But this is one I'm definitely going to read tomorrow. And I got a long way to go. What I need to probably do is just force myself to read several sections, because it's, how the way she writes her books is, like, this particular series, it's divided into sections, and the chapters are within those sections. So I feel like I would have to read, 3 of those sections to get this finished, or at least get most of it done. And I'm also off on Friday and Saturday, so. And, and of course, I'll read tonight as well, if I don't get sidetracked, because I want to watch Angel, speaking of Buffy. And then, of course, I'm going to try to go for my run today, but it is so daggone hot. I was, melting at work, because, of course, I'm one of those people who gets the carts. They have us go out there for an hour to get as many carts as you can inside, and then, maybe an hour or 2 later, you go back, they might have you go back out again, and it's 88 degrees, so it's a little cooler than yesterday. Of course, cooler is just a relative term. So it's a tiny bit cooler than yesterday, but it's still you could fry an egg on the pavement, kind of temperature. So I'm gonna read this tomorrow and tonight. I probably should force myself to read some tonight before I go to bed. But the other thing, like I said, it's sometimes I just want to chill and get on BookTube and watch episodes of Angel or whatever show I'm watching or movie. So there's that one, and the other one that the other two I'm hoping to get read are, first, I'm reading this. There's no way I have a better chance of getting this one done than this one, but I am finally reading King of Scars, which this was one of those situations I was gonna wait to read it a little bit, but then I kept hearing about people and talking about the book, and either they really liked it or they were disappointed by it. So I guess I'm no different than everybody else, and if I hear about a new popular book, I feel the need to check it out. like, I have a few new releases that I bought in the last 2 months that I felt the design. I'm like, okay, I need to go ahead and read this book because I keep hearing about them. People either don't like them or they love them. And some of those books I'm thinking about bringing on the cruise, I still have to. I keep thinking about what books I want to bring. And there's one book I recently bought that's a chunker of a book, and I'll show you guys in a minute, in a little bit, once I finish. So anyway, this is Nikolai's story, but as I already was mentally prepared for the fact that it won't just be about Nikolai, which I'm actually cool with. First of all, I'm a big fan of multi-perspective stories. I feel like if you only get one perspective, it still limits your knowledge. I'm not, whether it's actually written in first person or we just have to only stay with that character, we are still very much limited to their perspective on the situation. And I understand, with YA, first of all, you want the readers of these YA novels to feel like they can connect with the character or feel like they're stepping into that character's shoes. So I think that's one part of the reason why a lot of time there are a lot of young adult novels that are usually like first person narrative, or even if it's not first person, like first person perspective, we're only with that heroic character because I want you to see yourself in that character. But so for me personally, there are sometimes these authors create such unique, interesting characters that are very interesting compared to the main character. Now in this one, all the main characters, I'm very much interested in them. And they're definitely not boring. And of course I'm one of those people that was a huge Nikolai fan in the original trilogy, which by the way, I do feel like you definitely need to read. Like, I know you could argue that you don't need to read it for the Six of Crows duology, but for this one, yeah. Read the Grisha trilogy. But, I mean, who knows now? Maybe if you haven't read the original works, you might not even be interested in this book in the first place. So people might not need to really tell anyone that, because I imagine that people that are interested probably have already read it. But this is basically about a character from the original trilogy, Nikolai, and his life after what happens to him in the original Grisha trilogy, and like the consequences of that. And how he's dealing with it. They thought that everything was good and fine, but then everything kind of, comes back. And it's he's trying to run and take care of Ravka because he really cares about it and wants to see him get back to being good again. And Zoya is trying to help him with that. She's trying to make sure he's a good king. But she's still full of a lot of anger after the war with the Darkling, so she can't always think clearly on every situation, in my opinion. And, of course, Nikolai is kind of forced to think that way. He knows that he has to think that way. So she doesn't have the privilege of having to be rational and not as emotional as him. He has to be very rational in his thoughts and consider everybody. Which, by the way, I totally ship them. I don't care what other people say. I ship Nikolai and Zoe. They're so cute together in their constant back and forth repartee is just so fun and entertaining. So I totally ship them. And then we have Nina's story. She's traveling with some of the others to find Grisha and to save them, but also to bury Matthias. Which I don't know. Because a lot of people say Matthias, but when I see TH, I think that the sound, so Matthias, that's what I'm thinking it is, but maybe I'm totally wrong. I would have to listen to how someone on an audiobook or Lee Bardugo writes it. So, how she says it. I'm gonna have to read an interview with her or something. Listen to an interview with her. So, I'm pretty I'm pretty good way through it. I'm not exactly the halfway. I think, well, actually, it might be the halfway point. I don't know. What do you guys think? I don't know. I can't tell if I'm halfway or not. I might be halfway. But they have met someone, a monk, who wants to make the Darkling a saint. He worships him. And of course, the apparatus is still around. You can't trust that douchebag. So and Nikolai realized, okay, we gotta keep this kid happy because he's just a kid. This monk, like he's only a teenage boy, like almost an adult legally anyway. Of course, Zoya and the others don't really like Zoya, and Genya and David do not like this punk. Which Genya and David are married! Yay! I love those kind of couples that are complete opposites. That's why I totally ship Nikolai and Zoya, because they are such opposites of each other, but to me, they balance each other out. Which is why I am totally a Hermione and Ron shipper. In the Harry Potter world, I do not ship her with Harry. I think they're too much alike. But, yeah, so Genya and David are married, of course, and he's still totally clueless. I love it. I think it's so adorable. I mean, it's probably not the best kind of relationship in the real world, but in a story, it's so cute, and he's adorably clueless. But, anyway, so, this monk believes that the Darkling will return. And that's one part of why they're trying to make him a saint. But the problem is, the kid is delusional. He thinks what happened to them, like Nikolai's the shadow within Nikolai and the scars that Genya got and stuff, that's a blessing. But it's easier for him to say that. He is not the one who experienced that. He was not the one that was tortured. I mean, all he sees is the physical scars, but he does not feel them. He's not experience it. So he would have a hard time, understanding, of course, why would you look at someone's scar and then they would look at it as a blessing? I don't think anyone, the only way they would look at that in a scar in a positive way is to look at it as, it made me stronger. It made me a stronger person because of it. Which I guess you could say that Genya's scars made her a stronger person. I am so excited that we are getting an on-screen adaptation of this world, of the Grishaverse. Because then I can actually see it. See, I know people are like, how dare you prefer a book or a movie or a TV show over, but I think one of the pros of a TV show or movie, I know it takes, especially with the movie, it takes out a lot of stuff. But and I know you're supposed to exercise your own imagination, use your own mind, but I sometimes appreciate, when we actually have an on-screen version, and I like to picture, which I know this means I'm not using my imagination, but I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to picture. I mean, and even if there isn't an on-screen version a lot of times I've done that. I've been doing that a lot more, is picking actors that I would see playing in the parts if there was an on-screen version of that person. I mean, and maybe as a millennial and being part of this generation, I'm lucky in that way that we have on-screen adaptations of these books, because I'm sure, there's not necessarily, although they have, black and white shows and, the 60s TV show version of Batman and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, it will give me something to picture, because, there's things like scars on characters that sometimes I kind of gloss over when I first read it, but then I regret that and want to see what it actually looks like in a TV show or a movie. Helps with that. And I feel like this whole story is the whole Grisha story is cinematic. I could see it easily becoming on screen, and now it is. It's gonna be so cool, and I think it's gonna be on Netflix, so I don't have to worry about it. Although if it's on Hulu, then I won't have to worry about it either, or Amazon. That's another one that we have. We have Hulu and Amazon as well, so either, as long as it's not one of those, then I'm good. I have access to those. And I think I'm probably, but I can't wait to actually see this on screen. It's going to be so awesome. But anyway, Nikolai is so precious. I love him. And I totally would have picked him. I've been like, Alina, if you don't want him, I'll take him. Although he's younger than me, but nothing's wrong with that, as long as he's legal. But anyway, so I'm very nervous. Although, okay, so I have this habit of where I like to see, out of curiosity, whether I'm really engaged in the story or not. I like to check and see how many chapters are in the book. This is one of those really chunky ones, where there's like small mass market paperbacks. But every time I do that, I always end up reading. My eyes are drawn to the last sentence on the last page. So I kind of spoiled myself of what's going to happen to the main tune. But I will say this though, to be fair, I kind of already guessed that something like that was going to happen anyway, because as soon as they said that the Darkling was going to try to come back, and what was going on with Nikolai, the characters put two and two together. And this is a fantasy world, so even though the characters don't believe in stuff like this, we as the readers know that, okay, something's going on. I mean, less for this were a contemporary book, and it's not. We know some kind of magic, whether it's good magic or bad magic, something's going to happen. So I kind of knew something like that was coming, but I got it confirmed, because I let myself get spoiled. So, yep. I'm really enjoying it, and like I said, I totally ship Zoya and Nikolai, and I hope they get together. I would love to see them together. I would love for him to just because part of he's basically, they're also, they're dealing with political things, and we're also dealing with the whole, he made a deal with Zoya that as a distraction to bring the other nations together, he would pass it off as looking for a bride. So he's looking for a wife, which I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking though. I mean, they can't risk him having a wife that does not know what's going on with him. So it's, but then I guess they're thinking, because a lot of times I notice in these kind of stories, like medieval type stories, the husband and wife don't always share in the same bed, except for when the guy's wanting to have sex and make babies with her. Like women have their own bed chambers. Even Downton Abbey, like, Cora had her own private space if she didn't want to sleep with her husband. So, off topic. Okay, so I'm probably going to read a little bit of that. Like, I'm probably going to focus more on Shades of Magic. I mean, Conjuring of Light. Let's see. So I'm going to read those two. I did start looking into this book. I read a little bit of this one because the chapters aren't that long. The Kings of Wild. So such a fun story so far. Like a group of mercenaries. They were badass back in the day, but now they're old guys and retired. But then one of their own, his daughter, decides she wants to become like him. Have her own band of mercenaries. But then she ends up getting stuck in this ancient city, and he decides to get the band back together and find her and rescue her, or at least help her out. So and right now, two of the members, they're traveling, and I think they're getting ready to find another. Well, first they're getting one of the father's sword from their old manager, because they have a lot of references to the old rock bands and stuff. Like that's so I'm gonna look at that. Oh, it's over there. That's right. Okay, so there's also I've been reading a little bit of this on and off. I think I might bring this when we go see my grandmother, because my cousin's graduation. We're gonna go there for the weekend, next weekend, I believe. So I might bring this one with me. And progress in this, because there's only so much. I only get through like maybe a page or two during my breaks, because like these are the only ones that can fit in my little lunch bag, and I don't want to, and I don't want to just rely on like sitting there watch TV or my phone when I can get some reading done, even if I get very little reading done. Like it'll be a page of reading done, but at least it's something. And then there's also the Poisonwood Bible. It's another one I need to read. I started that one as well by Barbara Kingsolver. I think that's, yep, Barbara Kingsolver, about this Baptist preacher who uproots his family to Africa to preach the word of God, but he does not. When he gets there, he does not like how they are praising God. He doesn't agree with it. He thinks they should be more conservative. Oh, that's right. That's a book. That's a book. I didn't realize that on the cover. It's a book if you look closely. And it's from the perspective of the daughters. And I don't know if we're gonna get the perspective of the wife or not. But from, if I'm remembering what was said, let me see, does it? Oh, it is told by, yep, it's told by the wife. Okay, it's suspenseful. So it says, what follows is a suspenseful epic of one family's tragic undoing and remarkable reconstruction over the course of 3 decades in post-colonial Africa. I want to read that one. I'll get back to that one. And then I just remembered there was this one as well, and which, by the way, I totally once again passed up on Lord of Shadows. I have to stop doing it. I have to actually for once buy it. But my excuse, I keep making excuses not to buy it. And I am still interested in that world, the Shadowhunter universes. I haven't, like I said, I'm not as into it right now. And I keep passing up the opportunity. But I was buying a book, a pretty big book. And I was trying to only buy one. But there was another, of course, Lord of Shadows. Do not feel bad because I also passed off the second Morgan Crow book. And I'm also reading this one, The Lost Queen. I'm still reading The Lost Queen by Signe Pike. And the siblings have, so here's what's going on in this book. So a sacred space, like a sacred mountain, was defiled, making Cathan their religious, like he's like their Merlin, or their, like, if you're going with like Game of Thrones terms, their maester. And his space was the mountain where him and his people would, pray and all that, and worship, was just desecrated. So he's pretty pissed off about that. And they're trying to work things, and there's this whole controversy of, do we leave the body because someone was murdered and left hanging there on the hill? So do we leave the body or not? And so the Christians want, if I'm understanding correctly, the Christians are like, we need to leave the body there. But Cathan is like, no, you're not going to leave the body on our sacred domain. So he's now currently in trouble, but he doesn't have to answer to anybody. So I don't know what's going to happen. Oh, this is Decalages. So I tried to do that challenge, do I have the book, but every time I can never, for some reason I can't do it. First, I can't figure out how to time it and get the time when I'm done, and every time I try to do it, I end up running out of time, and I never can finish it. But anyway, so Langoreth is pretty pissed at her brother right now because he wants to fight and he's angry and just tired of sitting around doing nothing. And he's like, and Langoreth, she wanted to train what he is being trained in as a wisdom keeper, but as a woman, for some reason, she's not allowed to be. Although her mom was a wisdom keeper, but she can't, and she's pretty jealous of her brother because he gets to be that, and sometimes I think he seems to forget that. So, I'm really enjoying this one too. Excuse me, sorry. Just got back from work, and in that heat, makes you tired. So, anyway. So, I'm gonna read that one as well. Like I said, I'm gonna focus mainly on Conjuring of Light and, King of Scars. And also, I feel like I don't know if I should get back into reading the Song of Ice and Fire books now, or wait until, the show's, it's been a few months since the show's been gone. I mean, as in, should I wait until the show's been off the air for a few months? Because, no, the show just ended in a few days. So I'm not saying the show has been off the air for a few months. Should I wait until the show's off the air after a few months? Which, by the way, 2 of my shows are gone. At least I'm watching no, actually, I didn't watch it this season, but I need to get back. I need to watch the most recent season of The Magician on Netflix. So I'll have to check and see if it's on there. But first, I also wanted to watch a little bit more of Next Generation, Free to Star Trek. I need to watch that for Terry. And then I need to start and get back into watch a little bit more so I can reassure my friend Terry that I'm watching Deep Space Nine. I have watched it, but she doesn't remember that we've already watched a few episodes, and she doesn't, I feel like she doesn't believe me when I say I have watched it. But the time I watched it was with her. So I gotta watch it so I can actually tell her that, yes, I have watched it. Don't worry, I'm going to watch it. It's just, I feel like I have to, she's like, oh, okay. That kind of tone that says, I don't believe you, but okay, I'm gonna trust you, when really I don't. Not that she doesn't trust me, but you know what I mean. So I gotta watch that, and I just sometimes she does watch my videos, so I really hope I don't hurt her feelings. Terry, if you watch this video, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to judge you or criticize you or give you a hard time. Well, I guess it sounds like I am, but I'm just trying to reassure that I will watch it and reminding myself that I do need to watch a little bit more than, because I think I watched 4 episodes. I am such a bad friend. Seriously. I'm so lucky to have her as a friend because she's so sweet and understanding person and so patient with me, and I can get cranky with her a lot. I don't know if she ever notices, but because we only see each other in person once, possibly twice a year. So I'm very lucky to have her, someone like her as a good friend. So, okay, so let me show you some. This is the big book that, not those 2, but, I do need to read these 2 as well, The Way of Kings, but I finally at least got to chapter 40 of this one, where Albert and Franz have met the Count, and Franz realizes that the Count is actually the Sinbad the Sailor. And we've had the part where Albert gets kidnapped and Franz and the Count save him from those pirates or smugglers. But I think unfortunately, because I was so tired and I couldn't keep my eyes open, I totally, I was just determined to finish that chapter, so I kind of glossed over it a little bit. Okay, so here's the big book that I passed up. The Morgan Crow book and Lord of Shadows. That is this big chunker of a book, this hunking book, Samantha Shannon's The Priory of the Orange Tree, which, by the way, I do have her other book. Let's see if I can spot it. I don't remember what it's called at the moment. Oh, The Bone Season. I have that one, but I haven't read it yet. So, I bought this one, which is it was $32, but I did get back renewed my membership. Because at first my mom was like, no, don't do that, but then she was like, you know what, since you go there a lot, to like, as long as they take me, that is, then why don't you go ahead and renew it? So I finally renewed it. But I got this big chunker of a book, and I keep thinking about bringing this and bringing this one to both when we go for my cousin's graduation and when we go on the cruise. But I also feel like when we go on the cruise, I need to bring a paper pack so that I will have one when we go. Because there will be times when we're just, yeah, Terry will be there with me to talk and stuff, but there will be times where we'll both just want to chill. And also when I'm laying in bed. So, because no, there's gonna be times where I'm just not gonna be available to talk. I'm not gonna want to talk all the time. So, this is another one of those multi-perspective stories. And I've seen enough videos where people talk about this book, but unless I write it down, I'm not gonna remember. But I do remember a little bit, and that you have these two worlds, these two nations, and one of them worships dragons and reveres them, and then one of them is afraid of dragons. And we have people from each of those places, but they all can agree that they fear this one particular dragon that is prophesied to come back or something like that. And it's a standalone, one of the rare fantasy books of the standalone, but although I guess you could say it's not entirely standalone because the author is going to write more books in this world. But the Seven Waters series by Juliet Marillier, that one, each of those individual books has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And you could read them as standalones. So I guess it's kind of like that, or either that, or it's just they're companions to this original book. But this is, But I feel like if I bring this one on the cruise, I only need to bring one or two other books. But the problem is having to make that decision, deciding which other books to bring, because I keep thinking, I need to bring, my Leviathan Wakes. Because I need to get that one, I need to be in depth, but then I'm also thinking, but I should bring a book that I know I can finish, within a few days, and then I'm thinking, but I also need to bring, one of my Stephen King books with me, so I can finish that, but, anyway, so but this always happens, when I buy a new book that I've been really interested in, and kind of excited about, then it's I want to read it right away, but then at the same time, I don't want to read it right away because I want to savor that I actually physically have the book. I don't want to read it right away. I want to enjoy that it's sitting there on my shelf. So, thinking about now, I'm thinking, I want to read it right this second, but nope, I got those other books I need to read. Anyway, so I would love to know what you guys are currently reading, what you read today, what you're gonna read tonight, or what you're gonna read tomorrow. Would love to know. Feel free to share in the comments below. And as always, if you like this video, please click and subscribe. Give it a thumbs up. Click and subscribe. Click the bell icon below if you want to know when I upload new videos. And give it a thumbs up if you like this video. And as always, I hope you are enjoying your reading, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye!